Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 365. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm one of your hosts from warm Savage, Minnesota, Todd Oxtra, joined by Charlie Carden.
Was it savagely warm?
It's toasty.
Yeah, really. It's like 41. Yeah, no, it was beautiful and sunny here today in West Michigan, where both myself and our amazing regular, semi-regular third chair, our co-host, Katie Quinn Prashad is with us. Hello.
Hello. Good to be back, as always.
And I'm sure you don't regret it whatsoever, Katie.
Oh, absolutely not. No, it's just a stunning time had by all.
We've ramped up her Q factor amongst whoever it is that listens to these shows.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so it's always good to show up. And with video, you never know what color hair Katie will be sporting today. It's a lovely shade of green. So could be Madam Hydra, could be what's another She-Hulk?
Yeah, maybe She-Hulk.
Any Orion from Star Wars or oh my God! Wow, I'm not even drinking this week.
That's
Star
okay.
Trek.
I did that on code 47. So.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yes. Then everything.
I did it first.
everything has leveled out.
No one's ever made that mistake before.
And I feel like it was a bigger faux pas on code 47 since that's a Star Trek podcast. So I'm pretty sure that once that one gets out there, Charlie's going to get notes saying that I'm not allowed back.
I admire how you own up to that one. Excellent. But one thing that, and Todd, you picked a humdinger for this week's cover. Follow Easy Company into the Jigsaw of War. This is Sergeant Rock issue from DC Comics. Issue 365, obviously, from June of 1982. And you just have, and Todd will toss this up on the YouTube when we're doing it, so you'll be able to see it. But it's, the fabled Sergeant Rock as a puzzle piece. Kind of a weird-looking puzzle piece. Aren't puzzle pieces usually a little bit more blocky?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've
no
done
effort on the artist's part to make that into a puzzle.
I think so. But yes, you see a hand with a puzzle piece with Sergeant Rock on it. We have found the missing piece, but the hand is a cufflink, has the big old swastika on it. So this is not a good scenario. Todd, when are we going to get around to starting to read some of these? We always threaten that we're gonna do a breakdown of a few of these weird old covers and be
good question. I'll have to get the random number generator to figure out the range of episodes where we started doing this.
Right.
We'll run it in and we'll figure out what it displays and we'll see how it goes. But the funny part about Sergeant Rock is the fact that he's had 365 issues, and I don't think anybody knows about him outside of like the really geek elite.
Right. Yeah, it does. It's one of those cover scanners. I don't know that I could name, and I saw him in my Who's Who in DC Comics, which I love because that's the, official handbook of the DC universe that was published in the mid 80s, I think. So was always my knowledge of DC characters because I was always a Marvel reader. But yeah, Sergeant Rock was basically their Nick Fury in the Howling Commandos, fighting the Ratsies. Isn't that what they called them? Isn't that what Bucky called them? The Ratsies, the Nazis, the Ratsies.
Pretty much. Fun fact about Sergeant Rock: he made his first appearance in Army of War number 81 in April 1959, and they finally renamed the book to Sergeant Rock in 1977. So there you go.
Wow. Totally relevant information.
So, Katie, have you ever heard of Sergeant Rock before?
Absolutely not. No.
Apparently, he's only been in like a few like non-DC like comics things. Like he's been a couple of the animated series. He was in. Apparently, there was supposed to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger helmed film with him in the lead as Sergeant Rock. And apparently there was supposed to be a Sergeant Rock video game that never occurred, except he was in a Game Boy Color game called Sergeant Rock on the Front Line. Wow, that's crazy.
That is absolutely staggeringly important information. But moving on, when we want to get the real scoop, I'll tell you what we need to do is we're gonna get in a cab / Uber. We're gonna go down to the corner of Hollywood and find where our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb, has the straight dope. Hopefully not literally, in her rumors and news. So let's go.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Oh, my goodness. We are ready to get into it, Madam Webb. I believe you were planning to go to Florida for your snowbird trek, but unfortunately, nobody's taking hitchhikers these days. Either they're afraid of getting COVID or they're afraid of you killing them. So I don't know. She used to have a warrant out for arrest for hitching and ditching, but, we don't know. As of right now, she's just laying low.
Gas, grass, or the other thing everybody pays? Oh, yikes. All right. Up first, we have the sublime Michael Keaton, who he's had a bit of a career renaissance, I would say, in the last 10 years. It feels like we had him for, his career kind of petered out with like Multiplicity in the late 90s, and then it feels like you never saw him in anything for a long time, and then all of a sudden he's back doing Birdman in a movie called Birdman, which I never saw, and then as the villainous Birdman in the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming, where he was the Vulture. So we know from the trailers of Morbius that his character will be back in that, but now he's teasing us that we could end up seeing him in some other projects. So what do we think about this? I've always liked him. I've loved him since Mr. Mom. What can I say?
I mean, I definitely was excited. He was the only exciting part about the Morbius trailer for me. So,
oh God, yes.
I mean, I guess I don't really feel like one way or the other about him. So, I mean, like if he shows up in something, I'm gonna be like, that's cool. If he's like, I'm not gonna like rush out to a theater if he's in something. But
he's not a draw. He's not like Marky Mark was in the Uncharted movie. Oh, gotta see Marky Mark.
I mean, there's very few actors that I have where I would see something specifically because they were in it. So
because they were so amazing, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, I'm confused here. So I'm looking at who's actually in Morbius. Is Matt Smith been announced that he's in this movie? Because he's in this movie.
He's in the trailer.
Is he? I guess
yeah, but
he's
like, well, yeah, I think he's on for, it's kind of a blink and you'll miss it kind of moment. And there has been no conversation about what character he's playing unless it's not even really outlined in here. Because, you're right. It says Morbius stars, Leto, Keaton, Matt Smith. And you're like, Matt Smith? Like Jared Harris, you see him. You see Tyrese Gibson in the trailer kind of prominently. But, yeah, Matt Smith is just in passing.
Okay. Well, Michael Keaton is one of those actors that I always feel like he's doing his own thing most of the time, but when he appears, he gives it his all. So I think and it's funny, they even talk about how the fact that he doesn't understand how the Marvel and the Sony universes work. He just I just show up and do the work. So he's here to not worry about his stuff. He's playing a role. So I don't know if he is a draw or not, quite honestly. He's just he's a very good character actor now, rather than a leading man. I think that's good. I think it's great that he's getting work, and it's great that he's got a legacy of being in multiple things now. So I'm just glad to see him working.
Working. I like it. So it'll be good. So Todd, we have this movie coming up that I actually have a friend of mine from high school, Steve Steckety, who's a bit of a movie buff, who's going to be joining us in a couple of weeks to talk about this film. So when is this one coming out again? Is it?
It's an April movie.
It's an April movie. Okay, gotcha. Well, stay tuned as always, and we will be there for you. Bittersweet Symphony of Life is the film wrapping of Indiana Jones #5. This is one that, Todd, you're going to have to take this one away from me. I might get too emotional.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, Indiana Jones 5 is happening. Apparently, Frank Marshall said it has wrapped. They showed a hat, which is good news because that means Harrison Ford is not going to be in deadly peril ever again from falling out of an airplane, getting things shut on him, or, just being grumpy and getting mad and pissing someone off. So this is going to be the first Indiana Jones movie, not directed by Spielberg. James Mangold is directing him. James Mangold's really cool, and he puts a cool spin on things like Logan. We saw him do that, and he's done a bunch of other films. So this will be a different Indiana Jones film, which I think is perfectly fine because the last one totally did not work, just didn't feel like it was up to par. And we are getting this film, and we've got a very talented cast: Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Mads Mikkelsen, Thomas Kretschmann, and Antonio Banderas. So at this point, they haven't really talked about what the plot will be. If it's going to be Indy being in his time frame, he'll then be in the what
60s.
late 60s.
Yeah. They gave us a time frame, or they gave us a stamp, and I think they said it was 1969. That was in part of some past article. So, I mean, Indiana Jones is very important to me personally for a lot of different reasons that I've talked about in the past. But I just don't know what to make out of this film. You know what I mean? Katie, what about you? Where do you stand with Indiana Jones?
I loved the original ones. They are absolutely fantastic, and like Sean Connery and Harrison Ford were phenomenal together. But I have not actually even seen the fourth one. I think that's the one with the
crystals skull. And that actor that nobody talks about anymore, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
was his son. Spoiler alert! Now you don't have to see it.
Yeah, and that's so like this one. If they go back more to the roots of Indiana Jones, if that makes more sense, as far as just kind of the feeling, because it always felt like it was like an action, almost comedy, but like it never took itself too seriously. You knew it was gonna be kind of campy. You knew it was gonna be kind of goofy, but it was really good fun. And if it feels more like that vibe, cool, I'm all for it. If not, like I'll definitely. It's one of those ones where I'm not. It's just we're doing the good for them. Cool. I have no skin in this game at this point. I didn't even really. I think I knew they were making a fifth one.
Right. It's like
I didn't know where it was.
Right. Good for you, buddy.
So,
thumbs up.
Good for you, Michael Keaton, for getting work. Good for you for making another Indiana Jones movie.
Wait, Michael Keaton's in on this. Oh, are you doing like?
Oh, right. No, I'm saying like good.
I'm
yeah.
like, wait, Michael Keaton's in this too?
That's big. Apparently, somehow Katie had insider knowledge. Hopefully, the people from Disney aren't coming to your house to make you disappear.
No, I was saying this is the news stories of just good for you. It's so far.
Right. Yes, exactly. All love and happiness.
Yeah. So we do know, though, they did confirm in the story that he'll once again be trading blows to the Nazis, which means if it's late 60s, then we're going to be around Argentina or places unknown. Nazi treasure. Now, what I don't want this movie to be is, once again, it's that sentimentality, like, oh, it's the final Indiana Jones. They're going to have all these like touchy-feely things, because we kind of got that in the last movie where they did a lot of that. So I'm like, ugh, this could play out badly, or this could go maybe a darker direction, which might be good for Indiana Jones at this point, because maybe he's had enough and he's ending his life, and we'll see how he goes. I don't know.
Well, I hope it's not that dark. Well, at the end of the last movie, you're right. It was very touchy-feely because he saw Marion for the first time in a long time and found out that he had a son he didn't know about. And then at the end of it, they got married. So it was kind of like, huh?
They're trying to wrap everything up in a bow. It just didn't seem right.
Right. And again, that movie was almost 15 years ago. So it's just, it was this to me, Todd, I just get the feeling that when this does drop a year from now, it's a little over a year from now, that we're going to be adding this to the long list of, sequels that were too far apart and were unnecessary. That's what I'm afraid of. But it would be great to be wrong, because again, I love Indiana Jones so much. But anyway.
Well, it'll be great because Michael Keaton's in it.
Oh, well, that's what's going to save it. Todd, moving on to news that I just know you're going to have a lot to say about, because it's Star Wars news. The only Star Wars film actually to be on any production slate, unless I'm very much mistaken, Rogue One, now back being undead, with Patty Jenkins apparently back at the helm, but it's being discussed again. So, Katie, you want to take a crack at this one? Todd and I are doing all the blathering.
I am just seeing a repeated hot mess. It seems like Disney can't, for some reason, just make a decent Star Wars movie.
Or any.
Yeah. I mean, if Patty Jenkins is back on, she was gone. I mean, and honestly, I'm not thrilled with how she handled like Wonder Woman 2.
Oh God, no.
I mean, especially because like beforehand she was sitting there, oh no, this was 100% mine, 100% mine, 100% mine, and then it was getting terrible reviews, and she's like, oh no, the producers did a lot of that. Like,
right, the colossal backpedal.
Could there be a Wonder Woman 84 cut?
Oh, and it's 7 hours long. Watch out.
But so I was really excited with Rogue when they initially announced they were going to do a Rogue Squadron movie, 10 years ago it feels like at this point. But now I'm very apprehensive about it, because I haven't been seeing anything good in their movies lately. It seems like it's just kind of a scramble to try to make money.
Well, you're having feelings about this, I'm having feelings about Indiana Jones 5. It's just kind of like don't. And Star Wars is having such big success. I mean, they're doing great things on the small screen. Book of Boba Fett was not one of those things. Everybody and their grandmother loves The Mandalorian. There were some mixed reviews about The Bad Batch. Some people loved it, some people hated it, and there have been.
So they're batting 35%.
Yeah, I would give it a lean like 31% at this point. Yeah, it's so crazy to me that Star Wars never had any kind of television live action television program until 2019 when we saw The Mandalorian, and the Clone Wars was 10 years before that, and that was animated, and that was something regular that was considered canon. So prior to that, it was only films, and those films were really spaced apart. So, now we're looking at the fact that it just does not seem to be a film franchise anymore. It's just really bizarre.
I mean, the only thing I can say is that with Waititi doing his own movie, it looks like, along with Kevin Feige, I'd be more interested to see what those two are up to than this Rogue Squadron thing.
And it's the dazzlement of these weird stories. That must be it. But Todd, you're the hardliner with the Star Wars. What's your take?
Yes, there's more Star Wars than there has been before, and I just don't know if more Star Wars means there's that much more good Star Wars, but there is Star Wars you can pick from, which I appreciate having choices. I don't have to watch it all just because I know a lot of it's not going to be up my alley anymore, which is fine. I do want to see other people's takes on Star Wars and see what they can deliver, because right now we're in the Filoni Favreau-verse, and I don't think it's good to only have one person's vision, because you get tunnel vision. You only can see what it is. Like Lucas, we eventually just got his vision and nobody giving their inputs to provide a better overall story. And it just kind of went where it went. We'll see where this goes, but it's kind of one of those things where none of these pieces of information, these are all rumors. Once again, Disney hasn't said anything. So I'm expecting we'll get something around May for that May the 4th or Star Wars Celebrations, where they really have to kind of lay out what's going to happen next, because we really don't know about with Star Wars. And I'm just waiting for something new in Star Wars that just shows me some really unique takes on what they can do with the universe versus kind of playing in the same playground as I've talked a million times before. Because right now I feel like Star Wars is for the hardcore right now. It's not really bringing a lot of people that are like, oh, what's this cool thing? Well, you have to know all these things now. All these people, they just show up and they don't tell you who they are. So they don't have a lot of weight for the casual fan. Like Cad Bane just showing up. I'm like, if you didn't watch these cartoons,
you'd be like,
didn't care about.
Who's this guy and why is it relevant? He's just some blue dude with sharp teeth and a hat or whatever. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not breaking. It's too familiar, but it's like you said, it's too hard line. It's too damn deep. So yeah, I don't know, man. But I'll tell you this. Any further thoughts before we move on? Are we all?
Please make a good Star Wars movie.
We're all
there. You go.
all Star Wars'd up and no place to go. But I'm sure Katie and I will discuss that. Well, we'll be discussing this on Code 47. Not the week that is ending the time you're listening to this, but the week after you're listening to this for the first time. You got that right? Got all that? But we'll be talking about, because we've got, for the first time in franchise history, we have 2 Star Trek shows because of the nature of, like network TV. It was like, there was, what the hell was TGIF, shows that always came out on Friday. Well, for the, but in syndication land, TNG was syndicated, DS9 was syndicated, so they aired wherever your local station did it. And then, there was the UPN and Voyager was on a certain day, blah, blah, blah. But now that we have 2 shows being released on the same day, so it becomes the eternal struggle for us hardcores of which ones you watch first. I have chosen Picard. Season 2 kicks off, or will have kicked off, on May the 3rd, 2nd? May 3rd. March. Good God, it's happening to all of us. But we got a real chunk of great footage on the after show, the Ready Room, from the most recent episode of Star Trek Discovery, which gave us a ton of kind of game-changing footage that really, to me, I had no idea that things were going in this direction. Everything that I've seen so far about the season is that Q returns and, he's going to change history, and then the crew has to go back to our present to try to get things sorted out. But what a lot of this footage showed in this link that we got was that no, everybody in the crew, it's going to kick off in contemporary times. Picard went back to Starfleet; he's an admiral. Rios, who is the captain of the Han Solo captain, went back to Starfleet. And he's got a regular Starfleet ship now called the Stargazer, which is, was Picard's old ship. And, and Rafi is now an instructor at Starfleet Academy. So those things were all like crazy huge surprises to me. And we got some new uniforms, which Todd knows how I feel about that.
Oh my God. They love you, Charlie. Please buy more.
I know. And it's this one Chinese tailor, Kazermart, that gets all of my money.
It's like what was it? Malibu Barbie. They gave her hat, and this one looks like they gave it a stripe.
Yes, they gave it. They turned the pullover into a jacket with a snap. So yeah, which is basically what this is. So I dig on this footage. Yeah, so it was in this, and the time codes were in it at the beginning. There's a little longer trailer, and at the end of it, there's some footage where you see, you're on the Stargazer and things are exploding, and it looks very Borg. It looks like we're going to bump into the Borg Queen. Which we kind of knew was coming. So this really fired me up. I didn't watch this until this morning, and I was like, whoa! I was flipping out. I was very excited.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Oh, so this is essentially now a prequel to Discovery, right?
Well,
same timeline, right?
It takes place within the same timeline. You're correct. So you're right.
Why do we care about this if we know they're all dead? No, I'm just kidding.
Because Discovery and this are set apart by like 500 years.
I'm just kidding. It's always a joke, right?
It is both a prequel and a sequel, depending on what season of Discovery you're watching.
Yeah, Discovery started as a prequel and now is a sequel.
Yeah. Right, you're exactly. Yeah, exactly. They did that over the course of there was their game changer at the course of the end of season 2. But yes, you're correct. This is now a midquel somehow, because it's a sequel to TNG, but it's a prequel to Discovery. But yeah, I love that they're both coming out. Discovery's kind of been plugging along. I mean, Katie and I have talked about that. Todd, you and I have talked about. Todd, where are you at with Discovery? Are you on track?
It's funny because you had mentioned you were kind of growing tiresome of two characters, and they do both depart, which I'm like, well, how's that going to work? And I finally saw the episode, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm at the part. I don't know if that's the mid-season part or not, but I guess that would be episode 4, somewhere around there.
This just came back, and I think it's episode 11. So
okay, then I'm less than that, maybe 5. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm at the point where a couple of the characters go off on new adventures,
right?
And I'm good with that, because then that means there will be more screen time for hopefully some supporting characters that have not gotten as much, which I always appreciate.
Which they absolutely do. But again, but anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on Picard? Are you like fired up like I am? Does this look good to you?
I think that this is I think the stuff that they're showing us is probably like the first 2 episodes. That's what I'm going to say. And then I think we're going to get into like everything set up, and look, it's all quaint and happy, even though they had accidentally almost brought in like a Demigorgon type synth monster out from another universe to kill everyone. But no, everything's quaint and happy. And then, episode 3, everything's going to go to shit. Everything that we've been talking about being like, he's an admiral now, what's his face? Elroy or the
L. Ron Hubbard, Elnor,
yes, Elnor is
Elroy Jenkins.
Yes,
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, is absolutely phenomenal. Glad to see he's back. He was one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. But I think it's probably going to be more to do with Q and Guinan than.
Gotcha. Q's going to show up and say, "Hey, you know what? You totally snapped my fingers, and now you're going to be back in Los Angeles." And it's funny. I did read this. Instead of dropping them in the present, they have them in Los Angeles in 2024 so that they can skip the whole COVID thing. Because I guess they're telling us COVID will actually be over in 2 years.
Why not? Why not? They probably cure COVID, and it's
Right.
like they saved the whales. But
There you go.
I do like this one photo at the bottom where it shows Picard as a child with the dapper hat with big ears.
I love it.
Like a
I love it.
schoolboy. Yeah, I gotta
Right.
love that. And it is funny because this is going to be a very similar getting the band back together kind of
Yep.
situation,
Big time.
which is fine. I mean, I think that's cool. One thing I do hope what they do with this season, what they screwed up last season, is they try to overpack the last episode, and we spent so much time just
Right.
taking their damn time, and then let's get to the end. I'm like, oh, we should have had 3 episodes to finish that finale. We just did 1 hour. So I'm hoping they pace this better.
Right, yeah. Which was funny because that was one of the, and I agree with you, one of the complaints that you didn't have about the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett is that they actually wrapped the story.
Oh yeah, I was like surprised.
Yeah.
I'm actually, they paced it well. Yeah.
Yes, in a show where they did absolutely nothing else right. And basically 2 whole episodes were about a different character. not a great looking move. So.
Well, this is what we're going to find out. This one's actually going to have 2 episodes all about Will Wheaton.
I know. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Wesley's coming back. That's the big spoiler.
I will reserve judgment. All right, Todd. Last one's all this was all you because we slept on this like nobody's business.
Well, we had some previews of some Super Bowl commercials before the Super Bowl came out, and this was a commercial that came out during the Super Bowl, and we really didn't talk about it. And we got a trailer, which actually in the Super Bowl you didn't get the full trailer. You got kind of like a smaller trailer. This is actually the full theatrical trailer for the next movie from Jordan Peele, which is Nope. And this movie is taking a different pace from what we've seen before. Daniel Kaluuya's back. Stephen Yeun's in this. Keke Palmer's in this. And we really don't know what we're going to get, except it takes place, looks like out west. They talk about some African-American or black cattle, horse ranchers, things like that. But then we see some things that potentially look like they're from outer space, and we don't know much more except the movie is called Nope.
Right. That's a big nope. So
Exactly.
aliens coming to Earth, big nope.
Yeah, so Katie, Charlie and I have liked the last 2 movies that Jordan Peele did, which was just was Us and Get Out. Any thoughts on those movies? I'm not sure if you're a big horror fan or not.
I usually am not at all.
Right. I remember that about you.
Yes,
You said,
I cannot normally do horror. However, I absolutely loved Get Out, but I would not consider Get Out a horror movie. And I think that's one thing that's really... Yeah, that's one thing that's really great about Jordan Peele is that it seems like with every trailer that you watch of his movie, you end up going and seeing a completely different movie. And it's the same thing I felt with this one where watching the trailers, like there's obviously something he's not telling me, especially with the title of Nope. Like that is such a kind of a joke of, especially like in horror movies and everything, of like if they would have just listened to the black person who was sitting there going, no, we need to leave now, why are you here, what are we doing, nope, just noping out of the whole situation.
Yeah, it's a straight up nope.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's a little bit of a play on words and a little bit of a nod to that. So I'm really curious to see how the movie actually plays out and what we get. It's definitely one of those where I'll have my spouse watch it, and then if he says I can watch it, I will.
He'll be a screener.
Yes. Well, he really loves horror movies, so for him, he'll probably want to watch it anyway. But then he kind of knows how to gauge it, and so he'll warn me about certain things if there's like too much violence or
smart.
If there's So he'll be able to be like, okay, this is kind of where the pacing goes. These are kind of the things that might bug you or might, trigger something for you. Do you think those would be okay? So that's our little dynamic.
Yes.
It's like when a parent has to pre-watch a movie for his kids to make sure there's no nudity, too much sex, something like that.
I am Aaron's child, yes.
So that you don't end up being the, this was great when Deadpool came out back 2016. You had the one mom who, took her like 8-year-old to see. I thought it was a superhero movie.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Good
no,
planning.
That definitely will not happen, no. And it's kind of for his benefit too. I have very, very bad nightmares, so
that's
sense.
no good.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
totally.
I have heard rumors that the title actually is kind of an acronym. I've heard the acronym is potentially Not of Planet Earth.
Oh, that works. I still love
Which would make sense from what we saw, but
Yeah, I'm going to subscribe to Katie's notion. I like it better. I'm noping out. Jordan Peele out.
but it's still so amazing to see someone who was a comedian, but in his comedy, at least on Key and Peele, you did see where he would take things and just go a different direction anyways. And I like having somebody who is fresh to horror subvert expectations and just, what do you expect? And they are very unsettling movies. Horror is interesting. Say Us, I would say, is very creepy, and it's just, but I don't know if and it does feel horrific at times. So it's definitely a different feel. It puts you on ease, and that's what the whole thing about horror. It should put you to feel ill at ease and not know what to expect. So I love that.
Yeah, and especially with someone with like Peele, who is very much a lover of the horror genre and who really knows the horror genre. So a lot of his movies, he's approaching them going, okay, this is what people are going to expect. Let's have a dialogue and a discussion and kind of dissect how this trope came in and where these storylines kind of dissect.
Definitely. I love it. Good deal. Yeah. So this looks to be a summer release. I am all for it. Todd, you can put it right at the top of your summer movie wager so that Shizor can stay put.
July 22nd, 2022. So we'll see that coming through. But with that is it for the news this week. We are getting ready to drop off Madam Webb at the old folks' home so she can beg for a room. And we are going to head on over to our favorite geek establishment for drinks, libations, and all the good food at the Geek Easy.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So let's see, I'll kick it off this week for a change. I decided to catch up with the X-Men. It's been a while, and I was told that a good place to start is the Hellfire Gala. So the Hellfire Gala is essentially something I didn't know existed previously. They used it once where the Hellfire Club had a gala, and it was like in the early 80s run with John Byrne and Chris Claremont. And they kicked that off. Basically, they brought it back, and they included the issue with it at the very end. But this is a 16-part series that takes place within... Let me tell you how many different comic book titles it goes in.
Oh, boy.
Marauders, X-Force, Hellions, Excalibur, X-Men, Children of the Atom, Planet-Size X-Men #1, New Mutants, X-Corp, Wolverine, Sword, Way of X, X-Factor, and Cable. There are too many damn X-Men books. Holy crap.
Well, it's supplanted the Avengers because
10
or 15 years ago, it was like New Avengers, Old Avengers, Sideways Avengers, Young Avengers, extra planetary Alpha Flight or whatever. It was just, And, Marvel clearly not learning from the mistakes. But again, it depends on how many issues there are of these books at present, if they're successful or not. Because if it was a big flopperoo, these books would all be going away, I'm sure. But that's crazy. That's totally crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So there's a checklist when I read it through Marvel Unlimited. There's a checklist to not go to the next book in the series because it will not include that story. So essentially, it took place it took place from June 2nd to June 30th. So this was over quickly. But it was, once again, in all of these titles. So if you wanted to just buy this, you had to buy 16 different issues. Thank goodness for Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, 16 books times $4 each if you were getting them at the store.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap. So this is an interesting thing. So if anyone has not been keeping up with X-Men, Jonathan Hickman really did create a new age of X-Men stories, which is very cool in some ways, which kicked off with the Powers of X and the... Oh, I remember the other one. There was two books that have essentially kicked off this new.
It was X, Powers of X, and then Children of the Atom, or wasn't it?
No, it was something else. Yeah, there's two of X. So essentially, what it does is basically resets the table with the mutants and saying that essentially there's this thing called Krakoa, which is a living mutant, which essentially was one from the original early stories of the X-Men, which created these special chemicals and things that were healing, and they would heal the world and other things. Well, the mutants decide they were going to then use these things to essentially sell these chemicals to heal people, cure cancer, and then essentially fund their own government. It was their way to basically set themselves up to be a self-sustaining nation where they would
Right.
live on Krakoa and be recognized because they've had something they would offer the world. Well, you found out more as this went on. This is, if you're going to catch up, I'll just tell you anyways. They also found out that there was some really unique things going on, is the fact that the X-Men and Charles Xavier essentially has been backing up mutants, and Krakoa has the ability to essentially basically regrow mutants and back up their memories into a new version. So essentially, the X-Men and mutants can never die because they can get brought back. It was such a unique, that is really weird. But so that's kind of where we landed, and there's some things going on. There's a lot of politics going on. But once again,
it's their clones. Is it like this is the X-Men's clone saga?
Essentially, yeah. Essentially, there are grown clones to come back and never die. So you don't necessarily know who's the original, who's a copy, but it is kind of an interesting standpoint. So I don't know how long the status quo will stay, but this storyline, the Hellfire saga, was really interesting because the White Queen was hosting essentially a cocktail party and invited every nation on Earth. The Avengers, the Fantastic Four, everybody under the sun. And essentially, this whole run, these 16 issues, was from a different perspective of the same night, which I thought was really interesting. A different group of people, what was going on, and the fact that Marvel's had trusted Jonathan Hickman to basically leave out an architecture for all these stories is highly impressive.
Wow.
And the fact that what he did with these books, it's written like no other mainstream comic book you've got. Every book has something unique about it. Like there's one where it's just it's got an internal chat with people doing a Facebook Messenger chat back and forth that's in the middle of the comic about what's going on in the party. They're chatting during the party. So it's one page in the middle of it. You've got one where the mutants, the psychics, are talking and doing that. You've got one where it's in a different page where there's almost a gossip column for all the mutants going, and it's kind of very goofy and weird and interesting and different, and the way they tell a story is very different. But you find out, and I don't know if you guys care, I could spoil it, but
that's fine.
The culmination is this: all the things that they're doing and everything that's coming forward. The big reveal of this Hellfire saga, and I haven't gotten through it. I'm through issue 11 of this whole thing, but one of the big reveals is the mutants have basically used all their powers and abilities and everything with some special help to basically resuscitate Mars and create a planet for mutants that's self-sustaining.
Mutant planet? Whoa, okay.
Exactly. And if Krakoa creates a portal so they can travel in between. So they kind of figured this is the only way where we can be safe, is create our own sustainable planet. So it's a really unique take. I'm oh my God, this is doing some things I didn't expect from a mainstream book. But I will tell it's
X-Men turns into Total Recall.
But it's highly,
the reactor.
But this is highly impenetrable for anyone to read that has not been has any knowledge of the mutants, because there's so many mutants now. There's so many people that I'm not familiar with all the new ones.
Yeah.
And what the status quo was. So for me, even this was a little bit for me. So I'm hoping after all is said and done, Jonathan Hickman's leaving. I hope they kind of retrofit this and say, that was nice and all, but this is too hard to get people in, and you're just going to alienate a huge audience that has never read the mutants. But
so it's like Crisis, because how we talked about that last week. It's over in DC, the ongoing Crisis, but even starting with the original one being so completely impenetrable. If you've not been, if you don't know, this is Superman 9 from Earth 73, and it was that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Well, that had an end game. I don't know if this does, though. So that's the thing. I'm where do they go with this? So we'll see where this goes. But it was entertaining, but it was a lot, and I didn't know if I necessarily it wasn't benefiting the individual books, because once again, it's part of a story. So if you were telling your own story, it kind of got sidelined to have to be part of this. So that's one of the challenges of a crossover that happens individual books as it's going versus a standalone story. So, and there's no standalone story. It's just, there's not a specific Hellfire saga book alone. It's all happening in these books,
just,
like the old days.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was that reminds me of the messiest crossover that we did in the last couple of years that April and I actually read together, which was the War of the Realms. It was where are they go? Now Squirrel Girl's in Canada fighting frost giants, and the X-Men are in New York, and it's this thing and that thing. And so I don't know, but you're saying you dug it, but you have fear that it's not really going to be.
I dug it, but it's way too in the weeds, and it's almost like Jonathan Hickman does this. He really weaves really deep and interesting tales that have a long payoff, but the getting there can often sometimes feel like, where are you going, buddy? Because at this point, you're not really making me excited for each individual chapter, but I'm sure the overall story is cool. And that's with comics, you're kind of going to make each chapter pay off.
Fascinating. Oh man. All right. Well, Katie, you are sandwiched in between, so take it away.
I will say that I'm breaking the mold. It's not so much that I'm reading, watching; it's what I'm playing.
No, it's okay.
know.
It's okay. It's okay. I can take it.
Well, Charlie, you talk about Legos games when you're playing, so
sporadically. It was. I was. You know what? I was when I was off this week. I did play the OG Lego Batman for a little while.
Very
and
good one.
It was enjoyable. Yes, it was enjoyable.
Yeah. So I am playing Cris Tales, and that is a new Epic Games. Their little launcher or game thing, whatever you call those things. Their server. They do like a bi-weekly free game, and this one was one of them, and I played the demo on the PS4 and I really, really enjoyed it. So I've been kind of watching it, and I noticed, or actually Aaron pointed out to me, that it was free this week, so I immediately downloaded it and I have been playing it pretty much non-stop since. It's just a turn-based RPG, so pretty traditional, like side scroll type of deal that way. If you've played like Bravely Default or any of like kind of the old school Final Fantasy games before they went all action combat, that's more of what the vibe is, but it's got a really nice kind of individual or unique art overlay, which is really beautiful. So that got me going with it too. But the thing that I really enjoy is there is a mechanic in the game, especially during combat, where you can either the screen is set up with a triangle kind of in the middle, so you have the present time in the center where your characters are, and then there is the past to your left and the future to your right. So you can invoke the future crystal or the past crystal, and depending on what you're doing will impact what the results are with a fight. So you can go and activate the past crystal, have one of your dudes plant a little poison plant, and then break it so it brings them back to the future. It brings them to the present. And then like all of the guys will end up being poisoned because that little plant would have grown and blossomed and poisoned everybody. So you've got all these different things that you can do to kind of play with it and see how the enemies react. There's this little frog that hangs out with you, and you can kind of send him in the past and him in the future, so you can find like treasure chests if you're watching either side of the screen. Sometimes you have to interact with something like it will have gotten destroyed, so you send him back, and then you end up getting a key detail or an artifact you have to give to someone else. So lots of side quests, very much just that kind of traditional RPG feel to it. But I've really, really enjoyed it because I love me some turn-based combat, especially when it's got a fun little mechanic.
That was Todd. You remember that Facebook game that I loved all those years.
Yeah, the Avengers game you liked.
The Avengers, which it was so long ago, and I played it like every day that I could not even tell you what it was called. It was not Avengers Alliance, but it was something. It was just a Facebook game. They eventually did away with it. So I loved that game. That was a hard one to get over. So I do understand how you feel.
Yeah, I've seen that one, Katie. I've seen the Cris Tales, and that was one of the things that people thought that set it apart was the time mechanic. They said some people it got a little overwhelming, but that's kind of cool. The art style looks really neat in the game. So I'm just curious how long you think the game will be.
Playing it, I've put probably like 15 hours into it, and yeah, I told you I've been playing it. Hyper fixation for the win. But it's probably, I'm going to say like a 20 to 30 hour game, depending on how fast you go through this stuff. So it's not like a huge game, but I would say I think the normal price for it is $40. And for all of the characters have voice actors. All of them are individual or have their own art style rendering, and have a few different kind of art sprites that you'll have during conversations. So they took a lot of time to make a lot of effort, or put a lot of effort into the art style and into the mechanics of the game. It runs very smoothly, so I would say it's worth the $40. But also you can get it for free right now, so do that.
Very cool. Yeah, Epic Games. They do the great best deal in games, all those free games they can play. Gotta love it. Okay, so you've been rewatching Discovery as well, looks like.
I have, yeah. My dad was laid up with me for the past week, and good. I needed to be able
bad.
to...
I mean,
geez, Todd, okay.
No, well, I mean, get some quality time with him still.
Yes. Yeah, fun quality time. So we actually rewatched the first season of PICARD because he hadn't seen that. And it was one of those things where I needed to be able to work on the couch next to him while he was laid up and be able to know what was going on and have it be interesting enough to keep his interest. So I was doing a lot of shows that were interesting, but that I could kind of half watch and still enjoy. So we watched Picard, and then we were rewatching Discovery because it just was on my home screen because I had already watched the current 2 episodes from Code 47. So he goes, "Oh, what's this?" And he just clicks it and starts watching it. Saru is definitely his favorite. He
Nice.
just goes, that really tall guy with the weird feet. That's how he calls Saru.
Yes, he's got hooves. I will be saying, and I've met him before because I met him at GRCon in 2018, but I'm going to be down at the Hall of Heroes this weekend repping the club, and Doug Jones is one of the guests. So I will get to meet him again, but I'm in more of an official capacity. So I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, and that's like Doug Jones, definitely my one of my favorite actors in that show. And honestly, I think the entire cast does a really great job.
Totally.
So it was fun to just kind of go back, rewatch it, and kind of catch a few things that I hadn't seen before, like Saru's sass. Saru is very sassy. I did not realize how sassy he is.
Yeah, from the get-go, he was really back in the first season when he and Burnham were really loggerheads. He was very. It was a snark attack anytime the two of them were talking. Really just
Well,
not very nice.
I don't even know what was going on. There was one scene where he's in the captain's chair. They're fighting stuff and everything's going crazy. And his little threat ganglia come out.
Oh, right.
Someone looks over at him. He puts up, he goes, "Are you even surprised at this point?"
Oh, my goodness.
So I thought that was very funny.
It's
Awesome.
cool if you think about it, is the fact that he is truly really the first alien looking. I mean, you can say the Klingons in the original in Next Generation, but he's really the first really looking alien looking main cast member, which I thought was a cool idea, and I'm glad they did it. I like the one android type character, but got killed off, obviously.
Arium.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool. So I was really excited when they're like, "Oh, they're gonna have some really cool, unique like aliens and cast members that would be cool." But obviously,
Yeah, and they take it all the way because he's got the hooves, but he also his arms sway when he walks. Like that. You're right. There's not really another past Brent Spiner who was very with his tics and the way he comported himself as Data. It was notable, but certainly not the way that Saru does things. He really kind of takes it to another level. I think, like Todd was saying, very alien.
And even with the fact that he's got full prosthetic face on, and you still can see those subtle movements of like his eyebrows furrowing or being surprised, and like he can't even have the natural pupil dilation that you would get with those types of expressions, and he still is able to have a lot of nuance and subtlety with that character, which is just absolutely incredible.
Right. For sure. Well, I will take us home. Mine is probably a little bit more brief. I absolutely love 30 Rock as a sitcom, and this is one that April and we just finished watching Schitt's Creek, which she just loved, like laugh out loud, loved. And this is April is not quite as rolling on the floor laughing as I am about a lot of stuff, but she loves Schitt's Creek, like was just laughing out loud. So I thought, let me introduce you to this other sitcom that I really love, and we'll see. And we started watching it, and I just the hook wasn't in. I wasn't really getting much of a reaction. But time went on, and Todd and I have discussed this time and again with sitcoms. It just they got to marinate a little bit. That first season, maybe you'll get a pitch here and there. Some are going to be great from the get go, but most, it's going to take a little bit of time. And so we're now into season 4, and we're into full tilt. LOL, ROF. OTOL, rolling on the floor laughing. We're getting a lot of great laughs out of this deal, and I love seeing it. Katie, have you watched the show? Are you familiar?
I have.
With it?
Yep.
Yeah, I just every because it's absolutely ridiculous. Everything they do is ridiculous. So, and Todd, I know that you're watching. I was going to say my name is Earl.
My name is Earl. Yeah,
okay.
I'm finally catching up on that one after I paused halfway through season 1 about 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. The show was on 10. So there we go. So yes, in equal terms. So that's been a lot of fun. But I've talked a little bit about, April and I are also big fans of filmmaker / actor Tyler Sheridan, who does Yellowstone. His spin-off prequel was 10 episodes, which is on Paramount Plus, called 1883. Has to do with a family of settlers and their voyage that would eventually get them to Montana, which then became the spinoff for Yellowstone. Well, the series finally concluded, or the first season rather, because I think there's gonna be a second season. With very tragically, because it was interesting, and I get the feeling neither one of you are watching it, and probably nobody else is really tuning in besides me, because again, it's a little bit off genre. But the first episode starts with our main character, a 19-year-old woman, Elsa, Isabella May, or I was going to say her Elsa. Now I can't remember the name of the character. I'm going to call her Elsa because she looks like Elsa from Frozen. It's terrible, but she's when this first episode opens, there's Native Americans running around a couple of wagons that is on fire. One, and they're Lakota. They chase a woman down and she scalps her. They're shooting arrows, and it's like, wow, this is really a great start. And then you see, Elsa from Frozen get shot through with an arrow at the same time she's shooting this Native American off of his horse. And then the series continues from the beginning. So we finally get to the point where that scene happened in the last episode or two. Found out that she was gravely wounded, and her father, played by Tim McGraw, says, well, wherever it is that she does die, when they figured out that we can't save her, that's where we're going to settle. And so that's where the setting of Yellowstone is going to be. So that's what happened in this episode. And it was really tough to watch that. I think April read a preview of it beforehand, said have the tissues ready, and we watched it. It was on today. We watched the kind of first thing, and I love it. Again, it's not genre per se, unless you're into old timey westerns and stuff. But it was a great drama. This guy does really great work. We're kind of a big fan of what he does. So it was. But yeah, it was pretty gripping. It was pretty great. But at the end of it, of all of the settlers in this, I think, we started out with they were trying to help a group of immigrants settle. All of the immigrants died except for 2 or 3 of them. And one of the other main characters that was played by, I want to say Sam Neill, but it's the guy with the cookie duster mustache with the real deep voice. It's Sam something. Todd, help me out.
Oh, it's Sam. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The mayor.
Yeah.
For the new mayor.
Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott.
Yeah, Sam Elliott.
Yeah. In the end of it, he dies too. The guy who would play the Anti-Monitor on Arrow, he lives. And then Faith Hill and Tim McGraw and their young son live, and everybody else.
So, folks, if you are watching Yellowstone and you haven't caught up, enjoy that.
Well, that's I'm not talking about Yellowstone. I'm talking about
Or
1883, which
everybody was dead by then anyway. So anyway, yes, a lot of sadness. And very much looking forward to Picard Discovery this week. So that's where I'm at.
And guess what, folks? We'll be listening. We'll talk about Outlander: The Future, where we can talk about a Harlequin time travel. Yes.
Oh my God! Well,
I'm surprised you didn't talk about the prequel to Outlander is coming, so they can go further back and have more time travel.
What? I didn't know about that.
Yes, it's coming. Believe me, of course, it's coming. We got more time travel and more handsome men, and they can do their thing.
Oh, Todd, what thing is that? Oh, I know. Todd gets embarrassed. He doesn't like to talk about that kind of stuff.
No. Believe me, if I'm going to watch it, that's not the type of show I'm watching it for. If you get my drift, it's not the 70s anymore where you don't have access to that stuff.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, that is it for me. So, without further ado, now it's time to ditch out of this little dirt hole, pour our drinks out, see if we can ditch on the tab. But we've got to get an Uber to get over to the airport, Qantas Airlines, off to the land down under to visit the Thunderdome where the mutants await not so patiently. So let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome with the topics. Let's see that one more time. Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week we're playing a game we haven't played since episode 329, and that is the Secret Friends Unite Pitch Meeting. This is a simple game that's going to be rocking the nation. It's very simple. So each of our contestants has to create an original creation where they will be picking between a setting name, a genre, an antagonist, and a protagonist based on a list of creations that I and all the other contestants have created. So for this round, Charlie will be the first one to create his story based on my choices of setting, genre, antagonist, protagonist name. Charlie, so if you're ready to start, give me a number between 2 through 11 for the setting.
Setting number will be 9.
Ninjaville.
Ninjaville. Okay.
Genre 2 through 9.
1.
So that is going to be sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Okay.
Then you will have an antagonist 2 through 9.
9.
Military/government.
Military/gov-t. Okay.
Lastly, protagonist name 2 through 11.
We will go with 11.
All right. Angel Devil Kiss.
Angel Devil Kiss.
So
My first girlfriend.
those are all of your choices with setting, genre, antagonist, and protagonist name. So take it away, Charlie. What are you making for us?
All right. Well, here's the thing. In the colony in a distant world called... Hello? Whoops, I heard a bum. Somebody dropped something?
Nope.
Okay, very good. In the colonial distant world of Ninjaville, in a far, far away galaxy, the military government industrial complex wants to bring upon a new genesis in cloning. They want to clone ninjas from feudal Japan and bring them into populate a new colony of superpowered ninja warriors that will be at their disposal to unleash upon their enemies. And the only person that is going to stand in their way is a plucky scientist named Angel Devil Kiss. But she is not what she seems. That's the pitch.
What's the name of this thing?
Somebody dropping their microphone in a squeaky toy. I'm hearing a lot of background noise. Todd, get those cats out of there. The name of this is Kiss Me Ninja.
Is it a movie or TV? What's the format?
This is a 10-part limited series by Netflix.
Very nice, very nice. Well, very good work. So, Katie, you and I have to decide if we're going to accept this pitch. So, what's your thoughts?
I feel like I've seen it before, in all honesty.
Oh.
Well, yeah, Netflix never swings too wide for the fences, so that's okay. I understand.
So, are you greenlighting it?
Yeah, I mean, well, if we're from Netflix, then yeah, obviously we will.
They'll make anything. They'll make anything.
Here's money. Take all our money.
Give me money, please. Get some money. Get some money from the money tree.
All right. Well, Charlie, you have been funded with, what was the name again?
Kiss Me Deadly.
No, I don't think that's what you said originally. Kiss Me Ninja?
Kiss Me Ninja.
Okay, there we go. We'll take it. Okay. So,
right.
So next, Katie, I have to pick from your list. So, just tell me, and I'll go.
All right. Setting name would be 2 through 10.
I'll pick 5.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. I was in that show freshman year of high school.
Thank you, Charlie.
For genre,
yes.
2 through 8.
2 through 8. I'll go with 6.
All right. Historical.
Ooh, historical. Is this called 1883? No.
I was going to say.
I'm telling you, somewhere in season 2, they're going to be robots or aliens. It's coming.
All right. So,
antagonist would be 2 through 9.
Okay, we'll go 7.
Okay. That is the paperclip from The Office.
Clippy?
Yeah, Clippy.
Clippy? Oh my goodness, love this.
You said The Office, and I'm like, was that in The Office? Was there an episode about that? Oh, okay.
He was in episode
Office.
3. Yeah,
from Office. Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
I should have told you mine went off the rails real fast.
Oh wow. Okay, this is gonna be fun. Okay, protagonist
is 2 through 9.
I'm gonna go with 8.
All right, that is FlufferNutter the cat.
FlufferNutter.
Oh boy. All right. Okay. So, FlufferNutter the cat. Okay. This is going to be one of those sappy Animal Planet like made for TV films. This is going to happen out west when we find an angry ranch hand. He's bedraggled. He's drunk. He's pissed at the world. His wife's been killed. His children were kidnapped and sold to pirates off the coast of Florida.
Todd, that was 1883. You got it. And
see, I didn't have to watch the show. I made it up my mind. He has nothing to live for. He sleeps on a bench. He smells bad. The world is ending. This Oklahoma Okie has nothing to do. And then one day, he finds a little fluff ball. He's about to step on it. He looks down. It's the cutest little cat you ever did see. But he's struggling in life. He's got 4 broken paws. His tail's torn off. He's bleeding from the gums. Something happened. And this man, John Jameson Jones VIII, has to save this little cat. He melts his heart. So he takes him to the vet. The vet brings him back to life. But then James Jameson Jonas VIII has a change of heart.
The Jonas Brothers.
This cat charms him and breaks him down, brings him back, stops him from drinking, makes his life change. And FlufferNutter the cat, named after his dead wife's favorite sandwich spread, FlufferNutter sandwich, becomes the best friend he ever had. But then tragedy strikes. James Jonathan Jameson VIII, which his name varies by the time you ask, wakes up in the middle of the night and a man or a thing in the shape of a curlicue standing over his bed and stabs him.
No.
And escapes in the night. FlufferNutter wakes up suddenly, sees the dead body there, and goes on a tale of epic rampage for Clippy, who did it. Clippy time traveled, went back in time.
Forward in time.
To kill the man who decided Clippy would no longer exist in Microsoft Word.
He was a Terminator.
So FlufferNutter the cat, quickly we get a montage where FlufferNutter gets a mohawk, gets the elephant or the lion cut, starts doing push-ups, gets stronger, does target shooting, and enacts revenge, finds Clippy's cohorts, along with piano, what is it, keyboard cat, meme guy, takes down the gang and enacts revenge. And that's called FlufferNutter's Remorse, coming to Animal Planet.
That sounds wildly violent for Animal Planet. But I'm going to say...
Have you seen some of those documentaries?
Well, yeah, real life violence. I mean, I'm going to say this is a wild departure. And I think there would be no reason that this couldn't get made. It's equal parts of heartstring tearing or ripping. It's irreverent. It's going to get the nerd crowd. I think it's going to be a hit.
I think I like the kind of reverse John Wick vibes that we have going on here, where
right.
Instead of the dog dying and the guy going on the rampage, the guy dies and the cat goes on a rampage. So I mean, at first I was feeling like it might be a better pitch to Hallmark Channel than to Animal Planet, but I think that that other side wrapped it up. I think we're good to go.
I like it. The mohawk is that's the chef's kiss. You got that one.
Definitely.
The Breaking Bad of Animal Planet films.
We're already be talking sequels at this point.
I think
so. A whole
yeah.
series.
Exactly. Somebody kills FlufferNutter's litter. That'd be bad. Or takes him hostage. Goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh wow.
All right.
Yeah. The antagonist that would be Google Drive. Oh, sorry. All right. Okay. Well, now the best for last. So, Katie, you get to pick from Charlie's selection.
7.
Number 7 is Yavin 4.
Am I supposed to see? Why did I go with Charlie here? Because now I've got to Google Yavin 4.
It was.
Wait, you picked real name. You picked real places.
It was the planet.
I guess you picked Oklahoma, so it doesn't really matter. I guess
everybody would know what Oklahoma was, though.
Yeah, Yavin 4 was the rebel base at the end of Star Wars.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, good to know. All right. Okay, and then for genre, let's do 4.
That would be the genre is. Guess me. The genre is noir.
Oh, okay, okay. And then let's go with 12.
12 for the antagonist is the Rat King.
Okay, okay. And then for protagonist, let's go with 10.
10 is Albus Dumbledore, my dog.
Oh, you
Well-
picked real names.
Is
Okay,
it?
so question:
No,
Albus
no,
Dumbledore, or is it your
it's-
dog? Because we can do either.
It's well, I'll tell you what. I'll give Todd the choice. Which one is it, Todd?
I didn't know we were picking like I think we could get like a copyright claim, Charlie. See, in the future, you might want to not like pick like copyrighted like characters because J.K. Rowling's will come for us.
Well, then
Well-
let's do. It's your dog. It's your dog.
Yeah, there you go.
There
It's
you
my
go.
dog.
Albus
It's
the
my
dog.
Albus
It's my
the
dog.
Okay.
And let's just hope Oklahoma doesn't come after us.
All right. So we're going to have this opening on a grizzled, rainy jungle. It starts out in the sky, the camera pans down, and you hear that like low saxophone-y, music that you always hear when it's starting. And you see this little... I don't know, what does Albus look like? We're gonna say he's like some sort of terrier. Mix.
He looks the most like a Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah,
Yes,
there you
you're
go.
correct.
Yeah,
Like
so
Wishbone.
kind of just scraggly. He's walking through the mud. Everything's really gritty, and you
So
find
sad.
out you hear this voiceover, and he goes, "It wasn't always like this. I used to have a bone of my own, but then he came along." I don't want to talk about it, but the therapist says I got to get this kind of stuff off my chest. So here's a story about how the Rat King stole everything from me, including the love of my life. And then it shows a flash of one of the little bear guys that I totally blanked
Ewoks?
on. Ewok, yeah. Ewok.
Ooh.
Because it's hinting that Albus used to be owned by an Ewok and they were best friends.
Oh,
Yup.
no.
Super
Oh,
sad.
I thought this was a relationship. No.
I
No.
mean,
I
a
mean,
different-
Oh, I thought it was like a girlfriend or something.
oh no. I mean, let's be real. A dog's love of their life is going to be their owner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, totally.
So, but the entire movie is Albus solving the crime of what happened to his owner on Yavin 5 because the Rat King, you think, kidnapped his owner, but you're not really sure.
Right. All is not as it seems, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to say that this is going to be one of those animated Star Wars TV shows.
Oh, it'll be on Vision, so it'll be very short. It's like 3 minutes.
Oh no, we're going for like the full 12 episodes. This
Oh,
is
I like
really
it.
Oh,
Okay.
how many is Albus actually in though?
Well, we're gonna have a flashback of I would say the Rat King in at least one, because you got to have the one where you're building the Rat King character. So at least one of those. is gonna be Rat King.
Building the rat. It's a Rat King, of course, is just
Oh,
100 rats in a trench coat, which
Yep.
really fits with the noir setting. This is really taken off. I'm blown away. I already think this is the best one.
Is this canon though?
Yes, it's all canon. Shoot
all of it.
Shoot the Rat King with the cannon. Yes, this is green light. But Disney might have to put it on Hulu. Watch out.
That's true.
Probably.
It might be a little mature for audiences. Oh, very good, Katie. Very good. So yes, I think we've hammered all the details. I think these IDs are ready to go. So this show is going to make us some big bucks. We'll get the producing credits. You know what? We're on our way, folks.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, pitch me, man. Yeah, the last time we did this one was like 18 months ago. So yeah, I'm glad we dusted off this old chestnut.
18 months ago, we're at 329 to 364. That's barely a year, Charlie.
Oh well, excuse me. 13 months ago.
I can't math either, so it's fine. I wouldn't have been able to tell
It's
you.
been
how
about
long
8
ago that
months.
was.
It's been about 8 months. Yeah.
Man, ouch. Excuse me.
I didn't want the fact checkers getting mad at us, Charlie. Come on.
We have fact checkers. Shit.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Oh,
for our
flip.
Wikipedia entry. Yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Well, that is it for Pitch Meeting. Obviously, this is copyrighted. You can't play this game at home because our lawyers will be knocking on your door at the same time. Hollywood's lawyers are knocking on our door for violating their copyright. So enjoy the copyright infractions and play the game.
It was Albus the dog, and she actually said Yavin 5 when it was the setting is Yavin 4.
There we
so
go.
we got out of it. And the Rat
There you
King
go.
is,
Dyslexia.
the Rat King is not copyrighted by the NBC Universal Scheinhardt Wig Corporation because it was in 30 Rock.
Absolutely. So that is it for the show. And now we are ready to give our goodbyes and where you can find us around the interwebs. So Katie, before we leave, tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at QTGeek. That is Q_T Geek. And then I am on Instagram at Quintessential Geek.
Excellent. And of course, you can always find me over on Twitter at the C3, spell it out. I also do run the USS Grand Petoskey, a chapter of the Star Trek International Fan Club here in Michigan, which you can find us online, on Facebook, on Twitter, etc. I also try to slap some content up there at the Secret Friends Unite Facebook page when people aren't shouting me down, when Todd's not trying to shut me up. But that's me.
Very good. And you can follow me on Twitter at Toxtra. And the very cool part is this weekend coming up on the 4th through the 6th, we'll be doing a fundraiser for Bobby Pauls, our geek guru who we lost last year to COVID. They're doing a fundraiser in his name for autism. And I'm going to be doing some streaming most likely on Saturday, the 5th. Or the 4th, one of those days I'll be streaming because I want to support them and raise money for that charity because we lost a big gem with Bobby, and especially as Charlie and I will be talking about the Batman next weekend.
Yeah.
Bobby would have been our guest because he was a Secret Friends Unite's resident DC expert. So with that, please check me out if you want to donate, you want to do something like that, or just watch me have a good time and be stupid. I'll be streaming on Twitch, which I don't do very often. I'm not very good at it. So enjoy.
Right. Good stuff. Well, friends, as always, I'm going to tell you, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
Keep it sleazy.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In the truck.
FlufferNutter!
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.